gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our thoughts on the latest games releasing. As usual, I'm your guy, Jake Baldino, and once again, I got to apologize. I'm sleep deprived and extremely sick, but that is not going to stop me from talking about Nier Automata. It's the sequel to 2010's PS3 360 game Nier, which itself was a spin-off of Drakengard. I haven't played the previous games, but I didn't really feel like I was missing anything at all going into this one, so that was nice. Nier Automata is set up in the distant future where humankind was driven out of Earth by robots and machines. They took over the Earth and mankind was stuck living out on the moon. Eventually, they developed these human-like badass androids to pilot down to Earth from space stations to go and wage war for humankind and win back Earth. That's where you come in, as a combat android simply named 2B. This game was made by Platinum, and I gotta say, I think Platinum is back, baby. After a few misses, this stuff is like totally Bayonetta 2 caliber. Nier is out for PS4 and it's releasing soon for PC, and I think it's going to be a big damn shame if people miss out on this amidst all the other things releasing right now, because this is a good game. This is a semi-open world action RPG that has a surprising amount of variety that I will get to, but once you get through a pretty freaking dazzling intro, you're dropped into the main environment. You traverse around these open environments that aren't overwhelmingly big, but are still nicely sized. They got plenty of nooks and crannies to explore and reward with finding little items and stuff. The game is comprised of main quests, side quests, and an outpost with NPCs that deal out shop items and info in a typical JRPG kind of fashion. The main name of the game here, besides exploration though, is the real-time combat. It feels like a mix between Bayonetta and the newer Devil May Cry, with both heavy and light attacks chained together as well as managing well-timed dodges to counter back. It's all really fast-paced and thrilling enough, but the added element of having a bot at your side with abilities that it can access and use with one of the trigger buttons, but it also has a very important ranged machine gun attack. It's weak, but it can keep enemies at bay, and it's controlled with camera and lock-on. It feels a lot like the infinite ammo pistols of old Devil May Cry games. You know, not the most powerful, but perfect for biding your time with an enemy. It gets way more advanced as many enemies shoot projectiles back at you, which you can dispatch with shooting your bot, or by dodging, and navigating through all of this kind of feels like a classic bullet hell game. The game takes that 10 steps further though, when it seamlessly transitions to top-down and 2D platforming style segments in which you have full control of combat and shooting stuff with your bot. These random perspective shifts here and there really do a good job at shaking things up and manage to keep things really exciting and fresh. It's honestly downright pretty awesome, but thankfully it's also a serious bit of challenging fun. When this game is showing off all its tricks, which it does manage to consistently do throughout, you're probably going to be impressed. The game even takes this variation further by giving you combat flight segments sparsely throughout the game, which truly take you to an old school feeling shmup bullet hell style game. But in regular on the ground combat, there's some light RPG elements. You have to improve yourself. To improve yourself, you buy weapons and upgrades for them, as well as upgrading your actual android self. The chip upgrade augmentation system works pretty smoothly and smartly enough. You're given a set amount of memory space to add chips to give you upgrades and buffs, and even some HUD features. You can lose these chips upon dying, however, similar to how Souls work in a Dark Souls game. It's not as overwhelming, but it does give the game an added challenge next to on-the-fly selectable difficulty modes that it also has. This is all good because Nier is a lengthy game. Like I said, the world isn't absolutely huge, but there is a lot to do in it. Not to mention, when you finish the game, you don't really finish it. There's actually 5 more endings to achieve. Yeah, and I will say it's not the best looking game, but it has its own strong sense of style, and the game runs smoothly even as things get pretty crazy. At the time of this video, the PC version isn't out yet, but I'm really hoping that version of the game is really stable. The real kicker here though is the score. From like the exploration to battle themes, this is some incredible ass video game music. Personally, I know I like a soundtrack when I want to download it and listen to it in the car or in the background while I work, and Nier Automata definitely has that. The story is also satisfying enough. I don't think it's the most groundbreaking element of the game, but I do think it's pretty damn good. It's a step above the anime stuff you would expect from the character designs. You know, no insult to anime or anything, but this feels much more like a video game sci-fi approach, and it definitely mostly succeeds. I found myself caring about the 2 leads and discovering what is really going on planet Earth with these machines. Not only that, but with all the intrigue mixed in, the environments are varied enough and there's enough consistently different and exciting boss battles that just push you to keep on wanting to play and see further. It's also impressive how it's coming from a franchise with a larger universe and story that I still didn't feel overwhelmed at any time. This is a nice little self-contained tale. If it sounds like I'm praising this game to high heaven, it kind of is. I struggle to really find a lot of things that bother me with the game. One of the cons here, I've seen some people say that the game can feel a little repetitive, but through my adventure, I never got bored of the combat. The combat never felt repetitive to me. It was always challenging. The enemy types were always different, but I did want to acknowledge that complaint that I did see some people out there saying that, because even small stuff down to how the game handles saving or just how the HUD interface looks, Platinum just paid a lot of attention to this game, and it definitely shows. Like I said earlier in the video, I really hope if you are a fan of like action hack and slashy fast-paced combat type of games, or even some JRPGs, I can definitely recommend sometime or another that you pick up Nier Automata. But that's how a Before You Buy works. You guys know the deal. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion thrown in, but now I definitely want to hear yours down in the comments. If you've been playing Nier Automata, I want to know what you think. I want to know some of your favorite boss segments, or just any other action segment in the game. Let me know your favorite environment. Let me know some weird side quest stories you have. If you have been playing the game, let's talk about it. But if you haven't been playing the game, let me know what you think about it from the outside looking in. I want to hear your perspective too. If you got any questions about Nier Automata, leave them in the comments. I'll try and answer as many as I can, but if you got questions, you can also shoot them to me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. But thanks for coming around for all these Before You Buys. It's been a very, very busy last few days. Thanks for liking and sharing and showing your support. We freaking love you guys for that. And if you are new, I think I need to tell you that subscribing is a good idea because we put out stuff like this all the time. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
An android?
No, this is a machine.